Hey guys, what is going on? This is your old pal CHH, and today we are doing another Friday the 13th 4K review from Arrow Video. A sentence I never thought I would say, but here we are. Today's movie is Jason X from 2002. Well, kind of 2002. Really, it was supposed to be like 1999 or something, and we all know how Jason X was one of the most pirated films at the time when the film leaked online. You watching this? Did you watch this film before it came out? Let me know. So guys, it's been a pleasure. I mean, last year we've got the remake from Arrow Video, and we just did a review on Jason Goes Straight to Hell, and here we are capping it off with Jason X. Now, I'm going to say something that probably a lot of you guys are thinking, well, what other ones is Arrow going to get their hands on? If I'm right about this, and it's just an educated guess, we're going to get two more from Arrow Video. The first one is going to be Freddy versus Jason. Yes, I really think that they can do this. I think that the relationship has been built with Arrow and Warner Brothers, and they're putting these releases out in a way that Warner Brothers probably likes, etc., whatever. We clearly see that the Elm Street box set is going from one to New Nightmare, and it stops there, so that's another telling sign. And the other one is going to be A Nightmare on Elm Street 2010. Now, I can't say I'm a big fan of that movie, but would I be excited if Arrow did a release of it? You bet. I would love to see a release of that and hopefully get some interview from somebody on that film to talk about the behind the scenes. Consider this not the end point from Warner and Arrow, if you ask my opinion. But today, guys, we're talking about Jason X. Now, my thing with Jason X, and what I'm going to say, I'm not trying to push it on to people that don't like this movie. I'm just saying this because this is what happened with me with this movie. I used to hate Jason X. Whenever I would rank the films, this would come in basically at dead last. And my critiques were always, this movie's not scary, I don't know what they were doing, blah, blah, blah. It was really cheap. And the older I get, the more I learn about movies, I always soften up about production and budgets and things like that, because at a certain point, you have to realize the people that make these films aren't exactly in control of time and budget. I mean, they have a job to do, and they have the situations they're put in. The reason I love Jason X is because finally one day I was watching the film, and I was like, how hard does Jason X have to go out of its way to tell the audience, hey, this is not to be taken seriously, this is a silly, ridiculous film, just let go. From that point on, I've loved Jason X. Now, the people that still don't like it and criticize it, your opinion is just as valid as mine. But for me, I finally was like, what am I doing? Like, Jason X, like, what is there to be taking seriously about a movie of a hockey mask-wielding killer in space in the year 2040-something? I gotta say, I love the look of Uber Jason. I just think the look of Uber Jason is fantastic. It's a great design. What can I say? I love it. So enough about the movie. Let's talk about the 4K. To reiterate, I really like the 4K of the remake, and I really liked the 4K of Jason Goes to Hell. After this video, I'm going to do a video overseeing all three of those releases, talking about what I think works the most from each one, what I think could have been better, and I'll kind of do a ranking, because the remake is still available from Arrow. There was some sort of a weird scare for a little bit where I think it was not really available on Amazon, but I think everything's fine with the remake now. But let's get into it. Did I think the 4K of Jason X was good? The answer is, at the end of the day, yes, but I'm going to say this right out of all of these so far, this one was my least favorite, I guess. So let's get into that. So here's the thing. Just like with Jason Goes to Hell, when I knew that I was going to be watching this on 4K, I took the Scream Factory Blu-ray out, and then I actually took the Blu-ray out from the tin box set. I put both of those in, and I was surprised that both of them look really good. So going to this release, I was like, okay, now I have a really good blueprint of what this movie looks like at this certain point in time with this restoration that they did for Jason X, which I believe was some sort of, again, like a 2K from maybe some sort of not necessarily original element, but you get my point. This being on 4K, I think naturally a lot of us would expect more. Here's my assessment of watching this on 4K. There are certainly little minor things that you can really notice the detail on a little bit more so than the rest of the films, but in terms of the overall picture, my honest opinion is that it's not that much different from the previous Blu-ray that you would see from like the Scream Factory release. Now, that release is great, and I love that Blu-ray. It still looks really good, and I would have no problem watching that release again. The one thing that this 4K did have that I found to be a little more impressive than the previous ones is the colors. The colors definitely popped more with this. And you have to remember, this film, in the corridors of the spaceship and things, there's all these blue lights coming through. There's a lot of colors from the machinery. That is where I saw this 4K be the most successful. But in terms of the overall picture, I don't know how to explain this besides like this. I feel like Jason X as a whole, the movie had some sort of like a softer focus. Not like anything is not in focus. That's not what I mean, but like that kind of really high, crisp sharpness that you would see from other 4Ks, even a little bit more so with like Jason Goes to Hell and even the remake. It's not really there on this one. That is not to say that I don't think that this doesn't look great, but the jump, I think, is the smallest from this one as opposed to Jason Goes to Hell and even the remake. So at the end of the day, if you were going to ask me, all right, Christian, what is the best looking release of Jason X? My answer would be this one, but it's a finer line with this one as opposed to the rest. And you know what? I think that's okay. I mean, not every 4K you get, especially with these boutique labels, when there's previous releases that have not come out that long ago that have really good looks. I think you can expect for these not to be the biggest jumps you'll ever see. That's fine, but I do want to say, for those people that are wondering if that is going to be the biggest factor for you, I think the picture quality jump from this one, from the Scream Factory Blu-ray, is smaller compared to some of the finer detail moments in Jason Goes to Hell, and especially the remake. The colors are where the 4K goes to work, in my opinion. So, happy with it, but I think I was probably expecting a little bit more of a closer gap on Jason X, one way or the other. So that's my opinion on the actual overall picture quality. The audio was great, but again, 5.1 and 2.0, which I believe is the same as the previous releases. But, you know, overall, I can't deny that I was still having a great time watching this on 4K. Let's kind of start talking about the actual release and see if there is more bang for the buck on this one as opposed to the Blu-ray release that was a part of the Scream Factory box set. So first, we'll start with the artwork. I will say, I think this is the best artwork. They did a really great job on this one. I don't know about you guys, but the look of Uber Jason is something I adore. I've always loved the look of it. Some people think it looks a little cheap, and that's fine, but for me, I love it. This new logo for Jason X, though, I can't decide if I like that or not. You'll see that logo on the menu screen of the 4K when you put it on. Obviously, you know, they had new art for these done, and I believe that Jason Goes to Hell even had sort of a new kind of like a logo that they made for that. But, you know, it is what it is. I don't dislike it. I'm getting used to it, rather. But in terms of the artwork for all three, man, it's either this one or the remake. But I think this one, with the cool shades of blue and everything, might edge it out. Of course, our back will show you all the special features, which we'll talk about. Let's take this out. Of course, you can have this artwork on your Blu-ray case, but if not, 4K case, excuse me. But if not, and I can't imagine a lot of you won't want to do this, you can have that absolutely stunning original movie poster art on here, and just a great job. They put a real level of definition on the cover for this, which I really like, and there's a little bit more contrast. I know this is super nerdy, but like the contrast on the artwork on this is a little bit stronger than the the slip inserts on some of the Blu-rays and DVDs. You'll notice that. So that is what our case looks like. We do have some cool goodies, which we will look at. Right, so the first thing is this, and I gotta say, I do think I'll move stuff around. I gotta have a Jason X poster up in here. Of course, this one side we'll have the newly commissioned art, which great, I love it. But there you have it, guys. Evil gets an upgrade. Jason X, excuse me. I think I said Jason Goes to Hell earlier, but Jason X. So yeah, and that smell, that whatever factory they use, it is so prominent. All right, guys, so next we have, let's see what's on our card. We have the cards that come in here, and then this one has this on here, which I don't know what that is. Maybe somebody in the chat or the comment section can tell me. And here's our book, The Grendel Log, Earth, year 2455. Look at that. Very, very cool. Now, the book from Jason Goes to Hell was maybe a little bit cooler, but I love this too. Let's look at the back. Now, let's see what this has. We'll have cast and crew, Jason X to Mutilation Beyond by J.A. Kurzweil, who did the book, obviously, from Jason Goes to Hell. A Giant Leap for Friday the 13th, Gone Unappreciated by Matt Donato, and About the Presentation. So you guys know how these books work. This will be about the film, and I'll probably have some really cool behind-the-scenes photos. There's that shot of Jason when he was getting frozen. All right, so cool. This will be fun to breeze through. I have not read through this yet, but, you know, the books are a nice touch. Again, I said this on Jason Goes to Hell's video, but in case you didn't see that one, I do kind of wish, like everybody else, they would have done those kind of chunky boxes. But at the end of the day, I don't know why. My gut would say that the way they were able to license these films, they had to be this specific to do these sorts of releases, but you never really know, I guess. We do get a simplified release on this one. As you guys might remember on Jason Goes Straight to Hell, it was a 2-disc release because we had the theatrical 4K as well as the unrated 4K. But on this one, of course, there's just one cut of Jason X, so we get our 4K disc right there. And the artwork on the disc obviously is very similar, if not identical, to the slipcover. So let's look on the back, breeze through the special features, and I'll tell you guys if there's anything new. Because if you remember on the Scream Factory Blu-ray, I've told people, hands down, the best disc from the Scream Factory release was absolutely Jason X, because they did an incredible making of documentary on there with interviews from Kane, Sean Cunningham, Noel Cunningham. Hands down was the best disc from the Scream Factory set. But let's look on the back and see what we got. Guys, 4K Ultra HD and Dolby Vision with HDR10 compatible, original lossless audio. We do have the introduction by Kane Hodder, which was on the Scream Factory release. We have a brand new audio commentary with Michael Felsher and Steve Uncle Creepy Barton, who obviously they did another commentary for Jason Goes to Hell's release. Archival commentaries with Todd Farmer, Peter Bracke, Jim Isaac, Todd Farmer, Noel Cunningham. Scoring the Stars, a brand new interview with composer Harry Manfredini. After that, you'll see we have Outer Space, the making of Jason X, and a slew of things. So, all of those are on the Scream Factory release. But the new thing we have on here, as you guys can see, is the new interview with Harry Manfredini. He did a new interview for Jason Goes to Hell, and he did do a new interview on this one. It would be a little silly to say it's worth getting this based off of just one Harry Manfredini interview. Granted, I liked his interview because he was a big fan of Jason X. He talked about making the score more ethereal and spacey. But let's say you don't have the Scream Factory box set. Out of the 3, if you're going to get one of these and you don't have that box set, hands down for content, the documentaries and all the stuff that was on here that was done for the Scream Factory Blu-ray, the documentary about Jason X was amazing. I mean, I like rewatching it. It's so good. And Sean breaks down, you know, going from analog technology to digital technology with remastering this. He was trying to be forward thinking film was going to go digital, so they did a digital process of the 35 on this back in the day. So in terms of content, fantastic. But if you have that, if you're wondering what gets me the most bang for my buck, new bang for your buck rather, I don't think it would be this one in that aspect, because it is just the new Manfredini interview. It's a good interview. You know, it would be a little facetious to say that's worth the upgrade just on that merit alone. It's hard for me to be upset about this. I mean, I love Jason X. I'm so happy to have this 4K. Yes, I do think it is the best way to see this movie at this point in time. But in terms of the jump, I don't find this one to be as big of a gap between Jason Goes to Hell and the remake. That's just my opinion. Some people, you know, everybody's got different TVs, different players, and listen, I think that stuff can factor into it, but what I will say is the color was the most impressive on this out of any release from Jason X, so that I was happy about. So that's going to be it, guys. I'm going to give this release I think it's fair to give this just an 8 out of 10. I think this is the best the film can possibly look. I don't think this is a case of a bad 4K. I think the contents are great. I give them a lot of credit for having all the stuff from Scream Factory because it was so well done. I give them credit for getting a Manfredini interview on here, and it's a good release, and I love the artwork. I know artwork is important to people. Some of you may like this, some of you may not like this. I personally think this is great. Thank you guys for watching this. That's going to be my review on this. Let me know your thoughts on this. If you have any questions, let me know. I'll do my best to answer it. But stick around. It'll probably come soon. I'm going to do a video talking about all 3 releases, the remake, Jason Goes Straight to Hell, and Jason X, and I'll talk about the ups and downs on all 3 and which ones I think are the best. I'll rank them, so to speak, and kind of break those down again because I think a lot of people are still thinking about getting these. So thank you guys for watching this. This is your old pal CHH. I'm sad it's over, but here it was, the last one for review for now, Jason X on 4K UHD. Huge, giant giant thank you to all of my Patreon supporters. Without you guys, this would not be possible. To get behind the scenes photos, videos, music, private live streams, and much more, you can subscribe to my Patreon for as little as $1 a month. Thank you to my patrons.